This is terrifying, but I have to do it. Know that I'm going to do this in kind of one take, maybe with some pauses, but I'm not running it through an editor essentially, otherwise I would never upload it anyways. I'm Lola, and for the majority of my life, I have had to face situations and go through experiences that I wouldn't wish on anyone, that most people won't face. I mean, from the age of about 14, I had to learn how to basically be resourceful and resilient. I started off pretty early on. And even though I've been through these things, somehow I've still managed to function. Somehow I'm still here. I mean, it's debatable whether I function well, but I wake up, I set forth to do something, I try to stay focused. I haven't given up yet. The word survivor is interesting for me to utilize as a descriptor because even in the face of death, I still somehow managed to no longer be in that particular face. I am a survivor of multiple assaults and rape. I've pressed charges 3 times in my life against my assailants. And out of those, one of them was someone that almost took my life. That particular process is pretty horrifying. And none of my cases made it to the DA, even with DNA evidence and even a confession from one person. I did this without a support system. I did this basically alone. Fortunately, finding some resources that did exist. However, it's forever affected my life. I have debilitating PTSD, and it's amazing that I do any kind of work at all. I barely leave my own apartment, and this was, prior to the pandemic. I've been socially distancing myself for quite some time. I have plenty of practice. Understand there might be moments where I break down crying, or there might be moments where I somehow manage to have a really warped sense of humor. That's kind of what helps me through this. But I often fear that I won't be able to keep pushing forward and to keep persevering. I'm very scared of that. So I make sure that there's something that reminds me of my reason to be here, my purpose, and that surely with what I've been through and how much of a toll it's taken on my life, for me to still be this functional, I must have figured something out. And that surely that would be of help to someone, to maybe more than just someone. And even in small, doses here and there of talking to people candidly, it has helped people. And that's what kind of keeps me going, is knowing that is still, with what I faced, I have that to give. I took something so horrible and managed to make it useful to other people from what I've learned, and in a very unique way. When I see others in a situation where they need help, or where they're asking for it, or something's going on and I can be of assistance, there's really no thought there. I just am of assistance. I'm very utilitarian in that. So whenever I started paying attention to the interviews that were going on, that Chris Hansen was doing on his channel, and started to notice that something was rather amiss, I started asking some questions. I'm very familiar with the process of, what that kind of particular investigation entails, because I've been through them. And there have been a number of different advocacy centers that I have volunteered with, that I have utilized, and I have a pretty good understanding of what is lacking, and what is still so screwed up with how these cases are prosecuted, that even with pretty substantial evidence, it still may not go anywhere. But I do know that, and it's something that was important to me as in August of 2018, that's when basically everything kind of came to a halt for me. And I knew that he wasn't going to see any jail time, but I knew that at least if I file an incident report, which is the first step, I get his name on the books. So if he does it again, at least I help that person. So that's always been a big thing for me. But I started watching Chris Hansen's investigations, as he calls them, and I was confused by a number of things because it didn't seem right. There seemed to be some pieces missing. And with the background that I have in IT, which I'll explain a little bit of, as well as the misbehavior of Vincent Nicotra, it seemed that I could be of assistance in a few ways. I mean, there were statements of, saying that they wanted to press charges, they wanted to see him in prison, that he deserves prison, all this kind of stuff. So that tells me, okay, that's the direction they want to go. But it didn't seem that that's what was really happening. And also, after speaking with Vincent via DMs and even on the phone, I was terrified and very concerned with him being the first person that these people may speak to. So, with a few people knowing more about me and actually knowing me. They encouraged me to step forward, and they're like, yes, we need your help. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Just tell me when. They're like, yeah, I'll tell you when to jump. All right. And my background in IT, something that I'm not going to, readily share with just anyone, but I will go over right now, is a pretty unique skill set. I've been, my strength is in web development, web programming, mostly front-end design. I'm not quite full stack, meaning the whole thing, but I can at least do maintenance for a lot of it. Seeing what Vincent was in charge of, and that it was basically, I think possibly a turnkey solution, and that it wasn't even his own work, and it was easy to find his login pages anyway, I knew that I could definitely do a better job than he was. And I was even willing to do it at basically, in a non-profit capacity. I only needed enough to keep the lights on and, basically a roof over my head. And as far as other things that I could be of assistance with, I would do the best I can. I knew, here's basically what my summary said on my resume, and this is where this kind of comes into play. Combining my skills within IT and digital research and InfoSec with my determination to empower victims of abuse and trauma by working alongside legal advocates and resources. Additionally, assisting within these available programs by incorporating my ability to recover and present digital evidence, which may increase the potential of a higher rate of successful conviction and justice for the victims themselves. Seems useful. And I list my experience, my skill sets, areas of expertise, and sent along a 45-minute video where I showed myself doing all of these things. Keep in mind, I sent this to 2 people. I got to know some of the people that were on the live stream moderation team and had spoken on the phone with a particular individual, and even told her that I would help her try to recover some digital evidence. And she seemed excited about it. I also told her that, she may qualify for victims' compensation because she was someone that said that she wanted to press charges. And at that point, I knew that, because she said she wanted to, that told me she hadn't. And it didn't seem that anyone else had either. So what the hell's going on? The next day, I noticed that I am completely removed from that group. And I notice a message sent to me. A few of them, actually. And here's something I don't understand. I'm 35 years old. I don't give a shit about social climbing or clout. Clout sounds itchy. I don't care. I am just happy to be here and happy to do something. And God forbid I ask to at least be able to survive in some capacity while I do it. I can't offer what I do for free. I wish that would be beautiful, but I can't. And I tried to do the best that I can. But it then became apparent to me that the right steps weren't being taken and that they weren't getting any help. And knowing what it's like to have that jeopardized, even when you have a potential case, I was so worried. So I started looking into it myself. I had called Pierce County before Hansen ever did, or he ever showed up. I posted this on Twitter, and I was in touch with them, well, at least with Pierce County Sheriff's Department on the 8th, which was... I'm pausing. Well, that changes the mood now, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm very shaky and nervous. But if I don't do this, I can't move forward. I can't. I spoke with Pierce County. I had been for a while. I was also requesting any incident report I could possibly get. And because I knew something was wrong. Having gone through pressing charges in that kind of capacity myself, I know what has to happen. And it's not, they don't change it up for reasons. It is the same process whenever it's in regards to sexual violence and abuse. You can't report it unless you're the victim. The victim has to file the incident report. A third party cannot. By all means, call your local, sheriff's department. Ask them. They will tell you the same thing. Knowing that hadn't been done, and then hearing the continual stories about there being an investigation, I became infuriated because I knew it was a lie. Now, as far as anything civil goes, that is entirely different. But that's not going to put someone in jail. A criminal investigation for sexual assault or abuse starts with an incident report, then the collection of evidence. Then it moves on to statements, which at that point it goes to a detective, making the testimony that, and I use the term victim because this is in the legal context of it, so understand I might switch back and forth with that. It's incredibly hard. It takes hours. You get asked your story backwards, forwards, upside down, maybe in a second language. It's not fun. Additionally, your assailant will be given, they will have to do the same thing. Witnesses will be asked. There's, like I said, the evidence submitted, whether there's, DNA or anything else, digital. And then at that point, the detective brings it to the prosecuting attorney, district attorney. It's called a few different things depending on the state, but it serves the same purpose. They see if they have a strong enough case to win, and then it goes to court. It's one of the hardest things is for it to go past the DA, because a district wants to maintain good numbers. They want to win their cases. If they don't think they can win it, they usually won't go forward with it. But that doesn't mean that they aren't going to say that a crime happened. And that's how a lot of victims are able to still get legal assistance. So I was seeing all this go on, and I kept trying to do something. I kept trying to get it out there, but this was just me reliving everything that I had gone through, and then feeling that feeling of just it getting nowhere. Knowing that I've even had a detective approach me as the suspect, saying that I lied. I just didn't get I didn't fucking get what was going on. And I wanted it to, I didn't want to see anyone else hurt, because at that point, if you're, that interview becomes evidence and is basically a weapon for the defense. But after seeing the incident with Sarah's laptop, knowing what I did, talking to the people that I did, it broke me. And I, for the longest time, tried to reach out to a number of different channels and tell them, because I'm not going to get a huge reach. I also kept trying to put this kind of thing out there, and I mean, look, it took me till now. I've gotten attacked by a lot of people. And trust me, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. Very badly. I don't want this to be true. But it really wasn't that hard to figure out. And the thing is that it became clear to me that those who were watching this, possibly having gone through the experiences that I have, and don't know how all of that works. And I was baffled. I was like, why? And the whole reason that I was eager to, help and basically do it just, in a non-profit sort of way, is I wanted to provide solutions to people. And by solutions, I mean the resources that are out there, because so many people didn't know about them. And I still want to do that very badly. I want to empower people. I want them to know what their options are, what to do. But I have fought fucking tooth and nail to be heard by someone. I couldn't understand why I wasn't being listened to, responded back to. I didn't get it. I don't understand. It was like, are we sitting here just watching people suffer? What the fuck's going on? I still kept looking for things, and then finally people started catching on. And when they did, I guess that worked. When the behavior of Shiloh started to come to light, which, mind you, I'd been thrown under that bus already. That was the message I got. It was, I believe, January 3rd or 4th. Apparently, she had been watching me and told people not to trust me or listen to me. So anything I said was not to be trusted and tossed out. I was also later called a fraud. But let's take a look at the people that Chris Hansen has worked with. And I'm the person he turned down. Now, I'm not bitter about that. I'm angry because at least get someone competent. But here's the thing. I also knew there was an ulterior motive. And I knew that since December. The last series he did was on the same channel, network, whatever, that he's going to work with now. Killer Instinct was on ID. That was the last series he did. And in his first interview with Mike Morse, go to Mike Morse's channel. I'm sorry I can't put this together better for you guys so that it's easier to see and explain. I can't do it. I haven't gotten a whole lot of support. And it's not that I need a big pat on the back or anything, but when I've been getting nothing but being questioned and accused and attacked, it starts to make it a little difficult, especially when I'm doing this and it is hurting me. And I know that nobody asked me to, but I didn't see anyone else helping. I saw people covering this as news and drama, and I'm like, this will forever change someone's life. Get them help first. Here's how you do it. And yet not a single person that I contacted that was reporting on any of this managed to do that. One did. And the research I did on the weird chemical spray solvent, finding out about that, handed it over to him because that was his area of expertise. I'm incredibly grateful to have him as a friend. I still want to help. I still want to do this. Can we stop this weird habit? I don't know who started this trend, but if you have been the victim of a crime, please don't go to a YouTube channel. Don't. That isn't to say that after everything is said and done, that you can't tell your story then. But when somebody has committed a crime, when somebody is dangerous to other people, say something to someone who can do something about it. Because trust me, I mean, you guys all want to deplatform predators, or get them off YouTube. I don't think they can have a channel in prison. And it's not easy to get a conviction. It is very, very hard. But if multiple proper reports are made, it might be possible. I want to see. I don't want to sit around and see more of the wreck. I don't know why people like watching that. I think it's kind of weird. I'm not here for the wreck. I want to see the reckoning. I want to see people rise above this. I want to see people go forward, heal from this, and then give the biggest fuck you to their assailant. I want to see people become a stronger, braver person than they ever have been. That's what I'm here for. And will always be here for. I want to make this easier for people. Clearly there needs to be education that goes into this. I'm here for that. But I don't get very far on my own. I also struggle quite significantly. I don't think that it's some huge issue that I ask for assistance in this. Especially when I am able to potentially accomplish quite a bit. I don't think that that's too much to ask. Especially when it's there to help a lot of people. I would love to, which by the way, all of the research that I've done and looked into, everything that I've gotten that basically proves that this was a lie, I am hopefully handing that over to another individual who will cover it. Someone that does make very good content, and I hope they continue to with that sort of thing. Hopefully not doing what happens to a lot of people and gets too big of an ego. Please don't. Please don't. You're good at what you do. Also, I think it would be important to hear from someone that has been through this, has experience with this, knows what happens. I'm only interested in educating people. But it's been me that has been behind Hansen and even at some points in front of him the whole time. I know who Jean is. Hi. Which I can say that there is FBI involvement because they know who you are too, Jean. It would be too easy for me to say your information, so I won't. But knowing the process, I continued to check in and called because there's a person that I know to talk to at the prosecuting attorney's office. And there has not ever been any investigation into Onision. There would be something there. Like, there would be something they would be able to say if certain detectives were working on it, because if you go back through the videos that Hansen has done, He says even specifics like, oh, there's 2 detectives working on this case. There are people collecting evidence. I asked that. I asked specifically if there was any investigation open. And you know what was really funny? There was one, and it was closed. And I was confused about that. And I'm like, closed? When did they close it? And they said 27th of March. I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. And I'm like, well, what was that regarding? She's like, she's like, with Chris Hansen. I'm like, how did he press any charge? She's like, no, he was the defendant. The only investigation that has happened was into Chris Hansen. I even, while Slug thinks he was really slick by actually, gaining access to Onision server, I had been in there for about 2 months. Why? Because I knew that it was important to hear every single side, to ask questions, to verify, to see what was going on, and even directly ask him if he's ever been approached by a detective. Because if there's an investigation, he would have been. I've done it 3 times. He's never been talked to by a detective regarding any of those alleged incidents or events. Please, if you have something to report, if you're scared to go to the police, and trust me, I understand that. There's many of them that aren't trained to handle that particularly well. I know what it's like to have to, talk to a police officer who's not particularly receptive. And then there's some officers that have been amazing. Same with detectives. There have been some that have been fantastic. And then there have been some that, made me the suspect. I know that it's scary. But if you want to press charges, if you want to report this, there are resources out there for you. And I'll include a few of them. But my goal here is to correct the misinformation that's been put out there and to focus on that. Other people are clearly interested in the circus shit show part. That just infuriates me and upsets me. I want to provide actual answers. I want to be here to do that. I know that I'm opening myself up to a lot of criticism right now. But if it isn't clear that what I'm here for is to be of any help I can and just simply be able to have my electricity on while I do it, if you can't see that, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. It really sucks that people online have done so many shitty things to be untrustworthy, that we have promoted just garbage individuals as the people that we watch and pay attention to. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that got that way. But instead of making this all about cancel so and so, how about, and when I think cancel, and I'm a nerd, I see that little box whenever you install a program that says accept or cancel. First off, let's stop installing bad software. Second, let's make it about people that we accept, people that maybe might be better, have some better intentions out there. People that will be transparent. People that won't create a term called fucking Dramageddon. What, Armageddon as in to end everything, a disaster that will destroy? And we're going to do that by creating awful shit about people? Yeah, that's fucking lovely. Let's watch it. Stop attacking each other. Like, I'm angry with so many people. I'm pissed at them. Because you could be helping people. You have a large audience that you could help. And you aren't. And I've called it out. I've said what you can do, and it's not happened. But I will be there. I'll do it. I know that this has been long and me rambling on, but now this is when I'm just getting pissed off. I originally even wanted to do this, and I think it would be rather poetic, actually, if I was successful in this as well, because I would deliver on it. But as someone that is self-taught in IT, skilled with it, believe it or not, and someone that has managed to survive through things that she shouldn't have, I've wanted to start a resource and start in the form of a book called Untangle the Net. And I've wanted to be able to somehow make that as cheap as I possibly can so that people can, it can be available to those who desperately, that need that information. There are so many ideas that I have for people moving forward, for people healing, for people becoming the best version of themselves that they can. How about we just, the shitty people, just fuck them. Just don't give them your attention. If they committed a crime, go to the police. I will make a video that's not just me rambling, that's put together of how the investigation process works, as well as something else that is explaining different terms and the... See, this is funny. I had said that a lot of, and this is unfortunately true, a lot of smaller, like small town police departments, will have dispatch officers, even detectives that are not particularly tech savvy. And even, a lot of legislation regarding cybercrime, especially NCP laws, which is non-consensual pornography, aka revenge porn. This is very new legislation. With the first, I think, being put into effect in 2013, and there's still about 4 states that don't have any legislation put into effect regarding that. So there's a lot of dispatchers that don't know, what that entails, how that happens, anything. And I definitely want to start, educating the community as to what these things are, what it looks like, examples of it, as well as what to do in the cases of online harassment, how to actually get results from it. And no, Slug, it's not that there aren't, cybercrime laws that aren't there, that the FBI hasn't caught up to them. No, it's not that. It's that some police officers are just not smart and don't know what it means. The FBI has a particular division that they got that shit covered. Now, there are some duds, but no, they got it covered. But there's a lot of improvement that needs to be done as far as smaller town police departments. Even, there are webinars on particular websites. If I can find it, I'll list it below. But basically, I want to, if there has to be somebody cleaning this mess up and focusing on helping other people, and people want that help, I will be there to do it. Some of you are fucking assholes, but that doesn't mean I don't care about you. I'm incredibly forgiving. And although there's somebody that's pushing that, and I don't know, I just don't know. Because, Hansen, what you did, because I think you know who I am. Don't act like you don't. What you have done is reckless. And you know that. This is not your first time. You have hurt and misinformed so many people. Stop. You say that you want to get inside the mind of a criminal. Well, apparently you lack some self-awareness. Because you've been in that mind the whole time. So why don't you ask yourself, what brings you to do this? What motivates you? Because there's a place to start for a thorough investigation, for one that you can actually pull off and get the resources to, instead of using other people for your research. Do it yourself. And from me, from someone that has survived some shit that I shouldn't have, from someone that has overcome things that would have most people give up. Don't think that this isn't hard, difficult, or scary for me to do. I've just become braver and more courageous at doing it. Everything that I've worked on and collected hopefully will be utilized by somebody that can do it so that it doesn't get to me anymore. My focus is on helping people move forward, for supplementing and offering what you didn't. If you genuinely cared about these people, you would have gotten them the right kind of help. But instead, I will do it. At least I will offer. Hopefully, it will be well received. And I don't blame people for having trust issues now. I totally understand that. And I know I've rambled on for almost an hour now, and I'm sorry. But this has been really, really difficult. I hope that people see my heart is in the right place. That this has been exceptionally difficult. But I want to do whatever I can. I do ask for your support. It's very minimal in some areas. And encouragement. All I want is for the best for people. I don't see why that would get. I don't understand why that makes me a bad guy. I don't. This isn't about me climbing anything socially. This is about getting the right information out there. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and upload this. I'll list a few references in the box below. For the rest of the evening, I'm going to listen to some things that make me happy. I probably won't be able to respond to anything until sometime tomorrow. But I will also post ways for people to help out with this. To have a start in the right direction finally. You can do this. Somehow I did. There's something I figured out. So I'm here to share it with you. And just as long as I know that it's helpful to people, I'll be here to do that. I'm here for that. I love you all. You deserve the best. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Let's start pressing accept. Let's not get in a position where we have to hit the cancel button. Let's start accepting ourselves and others. Thank you.